He should be released.
I would rather represent the resilience of Ugandans. We stand for equality and dignity for everybody. We are non-violent, and we continue to preach non-violence.
I am not a criminal. I am a presidential candidate.
Nothing will stop him.
We must get our freedom or we shall die trying. We are fighting for freedom.
TV. I am Priscilla Regina Danoga. Our Kickstarter this morning is quite a biteful. We get to look at the role of Speakers Conference in strengthening ties. We also get to look at the rising concerns over gun violence, as if that's not enough, the NUP leadership changing, spilling, and also what that means for the opposition generally. And you also do have the ailing Ugandan opposition in 2024. What does it look like? Do you have unity? Do you have division continuing to stem through different political tides? Well, the 33 speakers and presiding officers from more than 25 Commonwealth parliaments were hosted by the Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, and that is Right Honorable Anita Among, and the Deputy Speaker Honorable Thomas Tayewa, for the 27th Conference of Speakers and Presiding Officers of the Commonwealth, which took place between the 3rd and the 6th of January 2024, which is last week. Now, the conference was an opportunity to share best practices on parliamentarians as effective legislators and representatives. But amid the spices of international relations, you get to look at another security threat, with gun violence storming the highlights of that very same week, with the clergy allegedly protected by SFC member attacked with gunshots, claiming a life. And how do we reach here as a country, and will the year 2024 will be here to solve such negative parameters for development and growth? Well, I am joined by Waisw Mufumbiro, who is now in a different capacity with the National Unity Platform, upon which we say congratulations to you, Mr. Spokesperson.
You are insistive, but I have not yet been appointed as a spokesperson. Joel Senyonyi still is the spokesperson of the National Unity Platform. I am the deputy, but you are insistive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am humbled to be here on NTV this morning to espouse on issues of national interest.
Completely. But I want to say Wagwan Huja, Blaze Norman, His Majesty, Empress Lasai, all Rastamen and the lady Rastas of this country, the claws of the lion, remain powerful and know that black is great. Nataka niseme watu wangu eneo bunge langu, karibuni kabisa asubuhi. Najua mnanitazama vizuri kutoka mimi kupitia runinga hii. Iko hapa, iko pale Kenya, na tena ilitoka Kenya kabisa, na hata makao makuu iko Kenya hapa Nairobi. Karibu kabisa. Niko na nyinyi. Asante.
Well, karibu.
Asante kabisa.
All right, so we start off with a lens casting on the biannual conference of the speakers and also presiding officers from the Commonwealth countries that convened here in Uganda last week, hosted by the Speaker of Parliament and her deputy. And we get to look at some of the key topics that they had in there. One of them, of course, was environment and climate change, the diverse as well as inclusive parliaments and security for parliaments, and also the role of speakers and presiding officers in that regard. Could you help us understand more in perspective exactly these topics that they had in relation to us as a country?
First, you said what?
Wealth.
Commonwealth. Do we have also common poverty? Have you heard about that?
No.
No. Can we make one? But anyway, all in all, first of all is to congratulate my speaker, my beautiful little sister, and my young brother, Thomas. Thank you for this. It has been a success for this country. I've gotten from my relative in Kenya, who is also Speaker of Kenya, Right Honorable Moses Wetangula, who is a relative across the border, and he says you people are organized, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. So first is to package ourselves internationally, and they say we are able. When I was young in primary 5 to 7, I read Chinua Achebe's book, late Chinua Achebe's book, Things Fall Apart. And there is one adage there which says, if you visit a relative at night in moonlight, it doesn't mean that your home has no moon. It is there, but you decide to sit in the moonlight at night. So equally, it is not that these parliaments of either common poverty, to me I take them as common poverty, let alone the imperialist packaging of commonwealth. We have nothing about the commonality of wealth with these, with Babylon, how we say, Rasta say Babylon. Nothing. That packaging ourselves international to that extent. You as younger people, the two of you, we used to hear these things, Nairobi, Abuja, what not like that. Today it is Kampala. And that alone makes our country, especially you younger people, to get the international recognition that we are a country, we are stable, we have the security. And I saw this when the speakers were touring around, including my parliament, the presidents of parliament, and I was there. I mean, you would see the ecstasy with them, the fervor with them, appreciating that this is Uganda. And very warm people. By the way, in East Africa, we are number one. In amiability, we are number one. In East Africa, maybe followed by Tanzania. The rest, I wish you visited some countries which I don't want to name. You would see very gloomy faces. Okay. You say, how are you? Now, the topics handled, climate change is a real thing. I have just come from COP28, and I'm one of those who attended most of the workshops there and everything else in Dubai. Not my first time in Dubai. I started, I think, in Dubai in 2008. When I was a lot younger, and I've seen it grow as from that. But they have catered for the environment. This is a junk of sand which has been turned around, has become green. When I was landing in Dubai on 28th of November, there was heavy rain. Heavy rain. Certainly induced what I would call artificial. And they thought they would do it for only 28th, but rained for 2 days, and there were floods all over. Now, part of the commentary was because UAE has gone into a lot of activity of making this desert junk into an environment hub. I say that. And Uganda, we may have taken it for granted. Certainly this is a Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden must be maintained. Okay. Yeah. So, actually, the most important theme of the Speakers' Conference was climate change. Okay. Inclusivity, that is Babylon. Inclusivity comes with homosexuality, gender, and whatever. I don't like that. I curse it in the name of Jah.
All right.
Completely.
Waisw, in that regard, I know that you've also had your eyes and ears on this conference and what transpired there within. Those being the frontliner conversations, environment and climate change, but also the inclusive parliaments, as well as the security of parliamentarians. You get to look at those being fundamental conversations globally. However, how do they resonate and trickle down to us as a country?
First of all, the highlight of the conference was the manhandling of Honorable Mwada Nkonyinji. It was very unfortunate, being manhandled by police, not police, the SFC, to a conference that he had met all the parameters put up by the Honorable House and the organizers. He had taken a COVID test, tested to the affirmative of those attending. He left his phones where they were asked to leave them behind. He took a bus and then only to be embarrassed to a conference that is discussing inclusivity and security of members of parliament. So I think it was very dishonorable of the leadership of Parliament of Uganda to act in an archaic and barbaric manner where they would have at least showed some courteousness of good mannerism to persons that are honorable. You cannot, I think it overshadowed the shabbiness of whatever they wanted to discuss, because denying somebody holding office, by the way, constitutional office, as the shadow minister of foreign affairs of the alternative government, enshrined in both the rules of parliament and in the constitution, handling him the way they handled, without even apology from the leaders and organizers of the conference, because they would have come out and told us it was an oversight, but without even apology. And there were a number of names that had been handwritten allegedly by the mafia speaker on that list, and Mwadanko Nyingi falls in that category. And that is, I think, what gave the depth of the workings of Parliament. And if you look at the highlights, probably the dinners, they were very smart at Ndere Troop. I liked the attire. They were extremely looking gorgeous and expensive. Our money was well spent on attire of the honorable members of Parliament and the office of the Speaker and Deputy with their spouses. Caricature of the calling of the SS General Meeting in 1789 of France, where they were only merrymaking. They looked smart at that. I think we spent money where we're not supposed to spend money. That is true. The benefits, this conference, and Ugandans should understand, if he says that Uganda is now Kampala, look at what you benefit from these conferences. Nothing. Not infrastructure development that is commissariat to Ugandans. You know that where they were sitting in Munyonyo, we have spent over 85 billion facilitating a private person as government to come up with a hall that we are even going to pay for
to use.
They would have spoken about accountability. This parliament is hiring premises of Kingdom. Kingdom was Shimoni. These are the policy makers. They would have overturned the decisions made, because they have the powers by resolution on how it can be a private public partnership even in occupation. But we are spending billions because of the procurement flawed laws of this parliament. So for me, if you look at and then of course the power of their resolutions, General Museveni, when he spoke in that conference, his speech was clear. One, he castigated them on their thought of colonialism, because many of them, like he's talking, he's giving you, he's clearly drawing the line between what we want to be and where we want to be. You look at this conference, and we are just thumping about it. This was the Commonwealth Conference. We have spent a speakers conference. We have spent lots of money, but we are also going to host the NAM conference. The NAM conference is the non-aligned movement conference. This one shows that you do not fall either in capitalism or in communism in matters of ideology, where you have always had them discuss ideological bankrupts of other areas. Today they are at a paradox. This is the Commonwealth Conference, purely understanding the directory of capitalism coming from UK, and then the participation of those even who are in this conference. You are organizing for 77. You had 33, not even a half. it means that there is a challenge. You should not just thump for it to have been a meritorious occasion. You understand the challenges. Look at the persons we want to talk about who attended the conference from Bermuda, from Guyana, from you know, it did not bring the clout. He was speaking about his half brother, Honorable Wetangula. Of course, Honorable Wetangula will only appreciate you for the little you will have moved. You know where they are as Kenya. Look at their house, look at their level of debate, look at the decorum and understanding of issues and espousing of issues by the members of the Senate of Kenya, where he is the speaker. But it is above. Both in outage, both in presentation, both in understanding the plight of the people, because whatever they do as parliament, at least being that they are representation of the people in numbers, I don't know, he must also be representing about over 30,000 voters.
No, over 70,000.
Over 70,000 voters. Wow, he's among those who have a threshold towards that is constitution of 100,000. Yeah. Over 70,000. Now, a person representing 70,000 voters in the second arm of government, with enjoying the doctrine of separation of powers, where I thought they would have been with more emphasis on how they should act independently for the interest of the wananchi. Because you look at 70,000 people, what was the benefit of 70,000 people in this conference? You will find that it was a satisfaction and a meeting of members of the oligarch, spending money to invite colleagues from other, because certain countries we even had to facilitate their coming, and that is unacceptable. But to us it is not surprising. He has already defined us as younger than him, and of course age does not lie. That is true. It is a fact. I want him also to know that historically such conferences learned where dictatorships are and want to create a facade of well-being of their population, whereas it is not. You know, you have defined us as a conference that would have been a common poverty conference, a conference of people under $1. That is about 3,700 shillings, living under $1. That would have been understandable. Finding the index of where the challenges that have brought us to this abject poverty and interdependence on our colonial masters up to now in the 21st century. Looking at our budgets, our budget is 52 trillion. You well know aware that we are borrowing far and above 30 trillion in service of our own budget. We project always that revenue will come to that mark. It does not. Now, that would have been the focal point of these speakers. To them, as leaders of the august houses that they preside over, the issue of doctrine of separation of powers is where they would have had more emphasis, because that gives them the alma mater of independence as an institution to run the interest of accountability for the many people they represent, and rather than the executive.
We go back to the drawing board, Honorable, and ask ourselves, since its inception in 1969, what has been the mandate or the role of such a conference of the speakers of parliament and presiding officers, and thereof what has been the impact of that on the Commonwealth nations by and large, or benefits for that matter?
And Priscilla, what is the other name?
Nalwoga.
And I would better call you Nalwoga, because it is quite colonial for me to call you Priscilla. But these colonial tentacles must move on. What is the other name, sir?
Waisw.
And I would be more comfortable. Just as you would be more comfortable calling me Musila. And that's what I would prefer. But certainly because I carry the burden of John, I can't wash it off immediately. If the crafting was that in 1969, Commonwealth, what are we thinking today? You as young, very vibrant, educated, learned and intellectual people. What we are talking about, if the speakers are talking about environment, climate change, is it enshrined in our constitution? The constitution of any republic is not about the legal part, the chapters and the sections and whatever. It's about the objectives of any country. We have 29 objectives. What is enshrined in the objectives? For example, objective number 13, protection of natural resources. Objective number 21, clean and safe water. Then objective 27, the environment. Very well explained. And to younger Ugandans, we should be able to understand this. Now, splashing a lot of money around and whatever. Is it true that this is a waste of money and simply not marketing Uganda in any way? This is about creating benchmarks, Priscilla, creating benchmarks. Whoever has gone out comes back and says, yes, this country is stable and we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 things. When we go to these conferences, I have attended many conferences, not because I'm in the parliament, I've done that even before. But you go out, you link up, you network, you do what you want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4 things. You see, the tourism of this country. Just recently, yes, I went under parliament to the COP28. But why would UAE come up with, transporting us free from our places of abode on the metros or buses 30 kilometers away from the CBD of Dubai to where COP is, which was, I was there privately in 2021. They were just completing it, and it is called Expo 2020. You see, now they have added a notch. By the way, a notch. When I went there, our Ugandan pavilion was not all that, but today is a full building, and we have our pavilion. So these are issues corporately which we must vouch for, and for the future, for posterity of this country. It is true, like my young brother, my son, where there is a search, the Baganda say, n'abalira mu kavuyo babeerawo, abalira mu kavuyo. I am aware and conscious. Even only the 12 the disciples of Jesus Christ, there was one who went for okulira mu kavuyo. So you expect that it will be there, and it is always there. If I pointed just behind your bag what you people get in Noop, what filth is in Noop, and possibly we will talk about, Priscilla will lead us to that. We will talk about it. But we are saying, as a country, marketing ourselves, positioning ourselves internationally is the most important. The most important. The nitty-gritty, 85 billion, whatnot, yes, you are right. And I am here to say, if indeed it is the case, we must investigate and say, this is taxpayers' money. What happened? Or what is about to happen? Or what is the arrangement? Is it a PPP? Is it a loan? Is it some kind of grant? Let us know. Let the public know. That's what I am. That's what I am.
Okay.
While I belong to NRM, I'm not taken by blind foolery that I should simply follow like the animal farm boxer. I'm not the boxer of animal farms, and I'm not. Then lastly on that topic, I wish my colleague to understand one thing. Not all the time politicking. There should be time when all of us must agree. You are talking of the national debt. I'm aware, maybe about 80, 90 trillion, fine. But have you also comparatively taken us into the East African countries, other East African countries? I think the most heavily indebted, according to all research, and I can refer you to CEATIN, you can Google, you will find that it is Southern Sudan. Number one, over 100 trillion in Ugandan terms. Kenya is the second. While you say Kenya is rose, I am just a neighbor. And I have my relatives there. I know what Kenya is. The average Kenyan rich poor gap is extremely very wide. A rich person in Kenya and a poor person, the gap is extremely very wide. The rich is filthy rich, the poor is abjectly poor.
Okay.
You get me right?
All right.
Uganda is not the case. The gap is very narrow. Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you so much. This debate is only getting deeper. When we return, we'll be looking at how this actually propels the 11th Parliament as far as policy formation is concerned and also conduct in 2024. Do stay with us.
Watching Morning at NTV. On the next episode
is brought to you by
Mufumbiro, honor at an outlet near you.
On the next episode,
today we are taking you on a thrilling journey to the vibrant city of Mbarara in western Uganda.
Awambara, Murimuta, and a big sweet hello to everyone else. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lamu and this is NTV Travels.
But hold on, this is not your typical travel show. Buckle up as we embark on an adventure that goes beyond the bustling streets of Kampala. We're hitting the road to explore the hidden gems, starting with the scenic Lekemboro National Park. Our road trip to Lekemboro is a visual feast, showcasing nature's wonders even before we enter the park. The anticipation builds, and it's the perfect start to an extraordinary day.
And that is a rampant Griffon vulture.
But the night holds even more surprises. Our quest for leopards turns into a memorable encounter with a hyena. A rare sight indeed. Lekemboro proves why it's a must-visit destination.
With 3 delicious flavors in the 300 ml and 500 ml bottles, there's an honor for everyone. Mufumbiro, honor at an outlet near you.
Babe, more honor please. But won't get an honor.
Freshness you can taste.
you're watching Morning at NTV.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much for keeping it here on Morning at NTV. Stephen Mbide coming to you from Nansana. It's a new year, 2024. I'm speaking to the Minister of State for Kampala and Metropolitan Areas Affairs, Honorable Christopher Kabuye Chofa-Togabye, talking about the new year, which is also beginning with a big conference that is just happening in the next 1 week. Honorable Christopher Kabuye Chofa-Togabye, good morning to you and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Good morning to you and good morning to all viewers, and especially my people of Kampala, and not forgetting my people of Nakaseke. Yes, Happy New Year to you all. And actually today, yes, Merry Christmas. It's to that midnight in my face. That's when Christmas stops.
Orthodox Church?
No, Catholics. Yes.
Okay. Honorable, first of all, before we ended 2023, you were so hard on executive, on the way they were on the ground operations. You were not happy with the way they were carrying out operations, especially infrastructure, administration. Should we expect a better picture this year?
Yes, absolutely right. Of course, we need not to beat around the bush. Sometimes we are given responsibilities to do some work, and people sleep on the job. And people think when you sit in these seats and you become comfortable, you think you've reached the heaven. But the moment you're given a responsibility and you sit in whatever seat it may be, whether lolling or rocking or whatever, just know you've been given a responsibility to deliver. And the whole Ugandans are looking at you. The whole about 5 million people are looking at you. So we think you are the pinnacle and the alpha and the omega of thinking and of working. and I don't expect them to sleep even a single minute, because everyone wants service and everyone is looking at you. And appointing authority has given you everything, including funds, to do that particular job. Of course, there's this nonsense of a song. There is no funds. There is no funds. How much money do you need? That, for me, normally, that's my question. How much money do you really need to finish up your job? And what have you done for the little you've received? Once you answer those two questions, you find that there's no more stories about there's no money, there's no this, there's no... Money is always there, as long as we wake up.
You know, we've seen sometimes issues of cases of vandalism. Some work is done or some streetlights are put up. Either you find them not working, or you find some maybe even posters or road signs or even these traffic lights, some of them vandalized. Is this issue also going back to executive?
Yes. Reason being, who has a capacity to climb a 5-meter tall pole in the city if it's not you? Because normally I see them, when you're fixing them, they use a crane to climb up there. You fix a panel, you fix a bulb or something like that. Then the question would be, who can climb a 5-meter pole tall height in terms of height? Who? How can you? Actually, when we pressed them more on the wall, they were speechless, meaning they are themselves who come back and remove what they have fixed.
You know, some of these problems also led to the introduction of SFC, Special Forces Command, into the operations within the city. Something that looked so uncommon to have soldiers on the ground. But yes, in Kampala people were crying over infrastructure. We saw this. There was also a need to bring in SFC. But even up to now, you don't see many of them on the ground working on these roads.
No. You know, we have two issues now. One, the issue of vandalism ranges from the character and the discipline, both Ugandans and the same civil servants. When it comes to those issues of lights and so on, solar panels, civil servants are responsible. When it comes to the road infrastructures, those are signposts and so on, then the Ugandans are responsible. Because Ugandans are funny. They are the only people in this world who hate to be told. You hate a signpost, you hate this, you hate everything. Actually, Ugandans, we hate them. So you'll find others who don't mind to remove them, not knowing these signposts are important, especially when it comes to the road usage, traffic rules, and so on and so forth. However, the issue of the intervention of SFC was timely. First of all, it was an intervention of help where there is a need, and someone comes to close that need and that gap. The gap arose from where? The gap started from the money power you have to fix certain problems. So they also came in to just close a certain gap, and they go. For them, they are not there permanent. They are there for assignment, which they have come, and they have delivered. You gave them 8,000 square meters of potholes. They have sealed their part. So we don't need them anymore.
Isn't this a question of failure to account with the people of Uganda, the people of Kampala? If roadworks, for example, KCC had the money to fix these issues, even the supplementary budget was also, the president also asked for some money to be given to KCC. Isn't this a question of failure to perform by KCC?
That's the very, very question actually we started in my head, and it's the very, very reason why I became hardy by the evening of 2023, and it's be the same question. And I would love you actually, you help me and pose the same question to the executive.
You are the supervising officer?
No, I've already done my job. Actually, by the way, I'm the most hated person now in Kampala because I speak the truth. The question is, I don't want someone to tell me there's no money. What have you used the little we've given you? Can you please account for this? You know, it is easier, Stephen, to come to you and they say, I need this more support when I show you what I've done with the little. I've done this, now I need this. Simple.
You know, just in a week from now, we're going to be hosting a very important meeting, a non-aligned movement summit and G77 plus China. But this already, you know, some advanced teams have already begun coming in.
Long time ago.
Yeah, are we really ready for this summit? Is everything in order now, just a week, days to the summit?
Of course, by and large, yes. we are ready, because Kampala is just a small part of the summit arrangement, only that they are going to be hosted within Kampala, but at least the summit begins from the international fora, then the airport, the receiving point, and then the hosting point, and then the accommodation point. Those three areas are of course ready, plus the auxiliary services like tourism and so on and so forth. By and large we are okay, but of course internally we still have to fix so many things, including dustbins, which are not yet on the ground. Yes, but by and large, I thank Ugandans, especially those who have come up and responded to our call. And I thank those whom we've pressed more and more and more, and then they somehow woke up and work. You know, some Ugandans need to be whipped a bit, and then someone people realize it's their problem.
You know, as we've been preparing for this summit, we've seen directives of evicting roadside sellers, these people who have been operating containers, the vendors and the like. So they are beginning the year 2024 are jobless, because you are expecting guests coming, but then you have also left them jobless. This is also absurd.
It's both a blessing in disguise. One, it is a blessing that the city must regain its sense and purpose. Working in the roads reserve is not actually sustainable. That is wrong. And actually that is the mediocrity of the smart city philosophy we talk about and people sing about. Oh, smart stay, smart stay, smart stay. Those are just mediocrity and cosmetic. You can't work in a road reserve. Why? Because this city is unfortunate that because of the land tenure system, we can't expand roads and these infrastructures. People are now calling for better transport system, or that can only be done when you have massive land so that you can construct lanes and lanes of roads entering in the city. Now the only areas we have are these existing road corridors, including those road reserves. Actually, we are going to construct roads, so we are modifying roads and upgrading them, including claiming all the road reserves. And that is all. That is the best we can expand. Or else we enter into another cost of compensation, restoration, and so on and so forth. So working in a road reserve is not sustainable. And I want to appeal to Ugandans, yes, despite the fact that we've got some bit of challenges and inconveniences here and there, go and work in a designated place. Don't work in a road reserve. Nobody is going to sustain you there. Whether today or tomorrow, another government will come and will not even mind. For us, we are a bit mindful. And actually, we've been so mindful, and we've been doing our job, our work in a very gradual manner, systematic manner, sympathetic manner, everything. We've been taking consideration of all these social whatevers of our
okay, your final word in respect to Kampala and organizing this summit, but also to the Kampala dweller who wants to have a city that is proud of, especially when they look at issues of infrastructure and administration.
I want them to compare whatever we are doing to having a child. When you want to produce a child, you have to endure some bit of pains, which our mothers and wives call the labor pain. You know what happens there? Nobody can tell apart from the doctors and the person themselves. Right. So when you want a livable city, when you want a good city, you have to endure some bit of pain. And that is removing you from where you think you're comfortable working, but in a wrong way, to a better place. Lastly, please bear with us and work with us. Some of us were here to help you. And indeed, we don't have anything apart from saying, let's put our city in order so that your children and yourself, just 2 years from now, they will enjoy the city. And most of them have started thanking me, by the way. They have said, saying, you come on, thank you very much for being strong.
I want to go back to studio now, but there is... there's something I've seen on social media about the shutdown of Kampala today.
Oh, that is the best joke of the year. And I don't want Kampala. I don't know why Kampala you always give me jokes of the year. Nobody, I repeat, nobody, as long as I'm still in charge of my city, no one is going to do any mediocrity of playing on Ugandans. Who are you to shut down the city? And who are you anyway? This is not, please stop the jokes. People, you can do your jobs. The good thing, I've been walking around and I see people are going to work. You just do your jobs. Remember, this is January. Children are going to school in the next 3 weeks, isn't it? So when they ask school fees, those guys, those hooligans will not even say, let's contribute because we contributed this. we caused this. So no one should threaten any Ugandan that there is any shutdown as long as I'm still living.
Thank you.
Please don't joke. And normally I'm not joking. Don't joke with my city. Please. You go home, you shut down your wife, you shut down your houses, you go in your bedroom and shut it down. Don't play with the Ugandans.
Thank you so much, Honorable Christopher Kawecho Fatogabye, the Minister of State for Kampala Affairs and Metropolitan Area. I have now turned you back to Priscilla Regina Naroga in the studio with other guests.
Stephen Bida, you have awoken a completely different conversation with my guests in studio, but thank you so much. And Bana Kampala, let's go to work. Forget about those rumors that have been dismissed by one of the leaders that we do have for the city. Back in studio with Alex Waisw, who is a spokesperson in waiting for the National Unity Platform, and Honorable Musira John, who's also Rastaman, who's also part of this Kickstarter conversation. And we were looking at the aftermath, the role, the impact, the benefits of these conferences to us as a nation. To Ugandans, it has helped us, work on the roads a little bit faster than would have been expected if they were not here. But nevertheless, we draw back to the Speakers Conference, and I turn to you, Waisw, to ask a very important question. How does this propel the 11th Parliament as far as policy formation, as far as parliamentary conduct is concerned for the year 2024?
There will be no change. There will be absolutely no change. It's going to remain the same style of managing Parliament. You saw even at the conference itself, before they learned anything from the conference, the way they acted on Honorable Mwada. They will not act differently. There is going to still be a lot of flouting procurement rules. With this parliament, we are going to lose billions and trillions of money, both in allocation of the budgetary system. This is going to be the worst parliament Uganda has had. I can project so. The good thing, we are talking about something that will happen after.
You are also of the view that it's ironic that this 11th Parliament is having conversations on environment protection, yet you do have some of its members that are misusing our environment.
Yes, you are aware that Kazi is down, and the people who are encroaching on Kazi are leaders of this Parliament. You are aware that this Parliament has a number of them that have used the political office of being members of Parliament, allocated themselves land, forest land, government forest land, abused it and sold it to other recipients, and this impunity, because the environment is about how we use it. Many politicians, you go to Eastern Uganda, the challenge that has been said by all those people owning the manufacturers, the CEOs of companies in Eastern Uganda, is how much bribe is picked from their offices, from politicians, to allow them pollute the environment. The pollution is absolute, and it is all an architect of the political leadership. And there is no way they can turn around and claim that now it can be a global discussion, just like it has been in all forums, because the speakers also don't yield that same much power as the countries of the Commonwealth. There are those that yield a lot of power, and there are those that don't yield power. You know that our speaker here does not yield, the office does not yield that power that is shown. It is more of the executive usurping the entire doctrine of rule of law of separation of powers. And I wanted also to tell Honorable Musida that for us in the National Unity Platform, we are always ready to discuss any route that might be there for us to discuss. Right. And I'm glad that I am here and feel very free to get the correct answers from the many lies that members of the oligarchy always propound and propel in the public out there.
There was a movie back in the day, in the 90s, by Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was called True Lies. Yeah, it was a very interesting movie. So the conference is closed. We're also going to close that conversation and open yet another conversation.
Possibly with one comment, Priscilla. Naluoga. I'm more comfortable calling you Naluoga, my daughter. One is that propulsion of lies, and if you are saying lies of truth or true lies, then my young man exposes that kind of thing also. I mean, true lies. You cannot lump every member of parliament. Say these are failures. You have your own in your constituency. Not all of us, the 529, are like that. Certainly there are individuals, and I'm not going to raise you down for what you are saying. You are right. There are those individuals who may use the system, who may use the corrupt, what I would call maybe oligarchy, like you said. I'm not part of the oligarchy. If you think I am one, sorry, you are misplaced with what you are thinking, or a leptocracy, or whatever the case. You can name using the Western Babylon language you want, but I'm not party to that.
Okay.
In Mbale, I am one of those, because I'm an environmentalist, and there was an attempt on that Central Forest Reserve near Mbale town. If you have ever been to Mbale, I, Honorable Nandal, and a few legislators have said no, not this one, no. You see, we stood our ground. Otherwise, the district and now the city authorities were attempting raise it down, and in the psyche that we are
so
going
this is where the IGG would call upon both of you, since you know these people in particular, to go to our office, make a case, and then we can have a cleaner 11th Parliament and government overall. But we close that conversation. Speaking of changes, we do have changes in the opposition mid-elective term, and we get to analyze that. You do have Honorable Joel Senyogi having been named the leader of opposition, waiting confirmation upon the return of the August House. And of course, that change then requires more changes to be made within the National Unity Platform and the opposition overall. And with this recycling of leadership, in your perspective, these are changes that are meant for good.
They are not. It's a purge in opposition. And to me, even my young man, Waisw, should be very careful, because he will be purged in time. And to me, it is almost in NUP, National Unity Platform, complete sectarian. If you are talking about sectarian in the main government, you should be a notch above. But where you say, we have two members of parliament in National Unity Platform who are out from Central Uganda. Only two, and I know them. One of them, a colleague of mine, we are born the same year, and we have all been LC5s and whatever. Right Honorable Nambesha, I should say, and then these are the Honorable from Jinja. Now, if you were going to give
Honorable from Jinja,
this lady called, I forget, maybe the name is off my head for now. But I want to say, if, like the constitution says about political systems and whatever, if you were to construct a vibrant national opposition the way it is today, the way it appears today, then you would give it a national character, just like the constitution says. National character how? Yes, are you going to enclave the party in only one area, and I'm saying specifically Central Uganda? When we talk of Central Uganda, I'm not looking at a particular tribe. No, Central Uganda, even as Bagiso, actually we are more. Bagiso are more in Central Uganda than the other tribes here. But you can't put it. Then there is a purge on I think age.
Isn't it too early for you to call that on the National Unity Platform, being that it's the youngest party on the block? They're really just building their constituency, as you called it, and so it's going to take them a while to have the inclusivity that you're referring to. But also too, looking to the most recent tour of their national leader to different parts of the country, it really was not sectarian.
It was not. But sectarianism is not about words. It's not about pen and paper. It's about practice. You see, if you are saying leader of opposition, should come from Central. The other one from Central. You know, are you giving the party a national character? That's what I'm talking about. Secondly, the age. The purge on the age. Anybody above maybe 45 out. The former Honorable Mpoga out, maybe is above 45 or about 50 out. Nambesi out now. It should be only as young people. I have one respect for my president of NUP. I give him total respect as a president of one of the most vibrant parties for now. You get me right? And I have members of my constituency who subscribe to a national unity platform. But they're also my voters. You get me right? In Namisindwa, President Museveni of NRM got about 50,000 votes. Little did we know, and didn't suspect in the whole district, that we had silent NUP members, possibly cutters of late Wameli, but 12,000, we didn't know. And six areas of voting in my constituency, 6. The president, national unity platform, 1 in my constituency out of 153 polling stations. So to me, I don't take leaders, or rather insult leaders. That's what I don't want in my life. So the president, as a party, he should build the party, and we delve back to history. I want you, I don't have the time to explain this Naluoga, but you read about the Uganda National Congress of Ike Musazi.
Before I read about it, I really would rather just use the analysis of what I have seen so far under the 40 years of my life being under one government, and you speak about the national unity.
And you are younger than 40 years.
Opposition thereof being sectarian, and yet the ruling party itself is the mother of sectarianism. But that's a conversation and debate that we are yet to really...
Do you have to replicate our wrongs, Nawoga?
After this break.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
She has the perfect life, but her strength will be tested by a betrayal. Labisa presents If They Let Us. Alicia is completely devoted to her family. She has a successful husband and 3 children who make them the model family icon. But Alicia has no idea that her perfect life will be shattered in a second.
¿A cuántas mujeres huele el cuerpo de tu marido? ¿A una o a 2?
When she finds out that Sergio, her husband, is cheating on her with Julieta, his co-worker. But Alicia must also find herself, rebuild herself as a woman, and learn that her life is not over, and that she can give herself one more chance to love. Facing fears and prejudices, but Alicia must also find herself, rebuild herself as a woman, and learn that her life is not over, and that she can give herself one more chance to love. Facing fears and prejudices, Alicia meets Martin, a young journalist who sees in her the great woman she is.
¿Para mí?
A love that won't be accepted due to the age difference and social prejudices.
On the next episode
is brought to you by Waisw Honor at an outlet near you.
On the next episode,
Today, we are taking you on a thrilling journey to the vibrant city of Mbarara in western Uganda.
Awambara, Murimuta, and a big sweet hello to everyone else. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lamu, and this is NTV Travels.
But hold on, this is not your typical travel show. Buckle up as we embark on an adventure that goes beyond the bustling streets of Kampala. we're hitting the road to explore the hidden gems, starting with the scenic Lekamboro National Park. Our road trip to Lekamboro is a visual feast, showcasing nature's wonders even before we enter the park. The anticipation builds, and it's the perfect start to an extraordinary day.
And that is a rampant Mufumbiro.
But the night holds even more surprises. Our quest for leopards turns into a memorable encounter with a hyena. A rare sight indeed. Lekamboro proves why it's a must-visit destination.
With 3 delicious flavors in the 300 ml and 500 ml bottles, there's an honor for everyone. Waisw ka honor at an outlet near you.
Babe, more honor, please. But won't get an honor.
Freshness you can taste.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
We are just joking.
All right, we do continue on with the conversation, looking at the changes that have happened in the opposition in Parliament. You do have the National Unity Platform having the largest number of representation in opposition, then giving them the liberty to then have a leader of opposition in Parliament. Now, that has definitely, been a debate through December to January. Why would anyone replace a man such as Matthias Mpuga? Well, it is it's done and dusted. We're just waiting affirmations that the new leader of opposition will be Joel Senyonyi, which makes Alex Waisw here. Then also in waiting, spokesperson for the National Unity Platform. But before we went into the break, we do have elements that were raised by the Rastaman Member of Parliament here. He said that the National Unity Platform is sectarian and they don't have a national character, and also the fact that age, they're having so many young people that are following them or believe in their ideology, and I would like to give Waisw an opportunity to respond to that.
It is very exciting actually, but also extremely a great opportunity that he has brought it out clearly as the members of the oligarch that he manifests not to be part of have propelled as propaganda against our fastest growing political institution in the history of the world. First of all, it is not true, like they have told him, that this was a purge. Joel Senyonyi has been a chairperson. First of all, he is a member of Parliament. The qualification to those offices, you must have won a constituency. That is why they did not appoint Alex Waisw Mufumbiro. Probably I would have also loved to be there. They appointed from our team that managed to maneuver the underworkings and undertones of the oligarch in the most bloodiest election ever witnessed in our history. So those 55 of them come from the central region. And mind you, not that those who come from the central region, the 55, are all Baganda. We are a political magnanimous.
I did not say Baganda.
Listen,
I did not say Baganda.
You talked about no,
central. I said the central. I did not say Baganda.
When you talk about, you cannot say the word sectarianism and attribute it to region of Central, East, and re-alienate it from the fact of tribalism. That is why you talked about East. Be a Rastafarian. Let's go to the cutting point. Now, from Buganda, in the Central region, we have members who are born outside Buganda representing the National Unity Platform. Honorable Nyeko, Machi India West, not in isolation. That was only done by the National Unity Platform. You will not find a member of NRM from Busoga representing in Marara constituency. That only happens in the National Unity Platform. So give us some respect and decorum at that. Joel Senyonyi is a member of Parliament who won with one of the highest turnover of votes. So he should be respected that where it needed to be blown, he was there. He showed up. He is an experienced journalist. From where we are here, he sat on this table for more than 10 years, I think. Respectively, with intelligence, with etiquette, with inspiration to a whole coming generation of journalists, you know. So you cannot say he's not experienced. He's not experienced at being LOP because
I've not said
you talked
that.
about age.
No, I'm not saying that. About it's the first time I
have an opportunity also to answer.
I did not say.
Let me answer now. I'm also answering. I am also answering to the public. I am also answering to the public.
It's not good to.
Okay. Honorable Msida,
they're his words.
I am now answering also to the public, not limiting to your assertion, because you also what you said is a consumption of what you hear from the Gullible Society. So I am trying to treat the entire disease from the root. Now, his experience as a journalist has been meticulous, undoubted, spot clean. So, any duty, his leadership in Parliament, as chairman of COSASE, you are a truthful person. You know, it is as white as your cloth. I can guarantee that there is nobody who has held that office, left spot clean the office of chairman of COSASE like Joel Senyonyi. Anita was in that office, and many of even my other friends and mentors, but I can tell you, Joel has been spafulous at that. So if you want to test him on his next assignment. When he left journalism to come to the ghetto of politics, he did not expect where he is that it is where he will be, but he went to fight for the common person. He started the fight. So for anybody to dismiss him, he has worked. I have worked under him as deputy spokesperson, and as my inline boss, I can tell you, this is not a joking guy. This is a guy who is, one, keeps time, very prayerful, a person who believes in God. He is not corrupt. He's somebody that everybody in the country should be amazed with, and thank our leader for his kind of vision that he can entrust this young man at 37 to do his next assignment. Our team, if I hear about sectarianism, you are wrong. Nambeshe is still on our team. Honorable Nambeshe, first of all, is our deputy president. Okay? After being our deputy president, he is the chief whip. You know that in parliament, the highest officers in the opposition are three. One, leader of opposition. Two, commissioner. Three, a whip. Now, why could you tell us, for us who have had a very great captain at whipping our members of parliament in a very dirty parliament, that we chase him away? We only changed the players. Mpuga was the captain. He is no longer the captain. Joel is the captain. Mpuga is playing the role of a commissioner, which is also not detrimental. You have spoken about Honorable Cheba Kutika. She was the deputy chief whip and chairperson of the caucus of members of parliament of NUP. Today, she is the honorable minister, shadow minister of trade and industry, because Jinja was an industrial town. That is where she represents. Honorable Lucy Akelo, to show you that we are not even sectarian or tribalistic, we even went out of the curtain of NUP and found the great men of reason and dignity and honor and included them in this sparkless team. Honorable Sakelo, Minister of East African Affairs. Honorable Adeke, she is a minister. Honorable Nyakato from Soroti. Honorable Nyakato Asnansi from Hoima. Honorable Odul is the Minister of Constitutional Affairs. Honorable Niwagaba is the Attorney General. Give us a break. Do not lie to the Agabo. It's in no doubt. He's nowhere. Jimmy Rwanga, it is no doubt. He's nowhere. I mean, if you look at our team, we did not have Honorable Semujunganda. I have had him lambast his performance in parliament, that he has taken over the whole parliament. Everything is about him. We have brought him as the Minister of Finance to tell us more about what these people and how deep their hands are into the coffers of our nation.
And therefore, does this then give you still the liberty to critique the national resistance?
No. I am saying Semujunganda is a member of FDC. Where is his loyalty to NUP? Lucy is not a member of NUP. Where is her loyalty? And these are not simple ministries. Ministry of East Africa. Nyakata Snans is a member of FDC. Where is her loyalty to NUP? she's from Hoima. Because this is where people misjudge us for their own understanding. We have simply, and these roles are virtual roles. These roles, all of us know that the power has been usurped by the dictatorship. That we cannot run away. So whatever roles we are giving them are roles to propel them to be better people, and we are yet to make a final lineup. The day you will judge the National Unity Platform, the day you will judge the people's loved president, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine, is the day when he will be giving you full accountability of the allocation of the resources of this country. Somebody talks about tribalism. Look at the army. Who are the people heading the army? Who are the people heading all these these government parastatals that you promise that by a certain time you will have closed them, but you can't close them because they are your nephews, they are your nieces. It's something you found out as government, that there are many parastatals, you must close them down. You can't close them because the MDs are all related to the first family. Okay. Let us speak, if one speak the truth, to power, not to where power is not.
All right.
Because
so
the
how do these changes propel the opposition, the alternative government, for the remainder of the elective term?
Well, the team is clustered together. They are willing to play along. They have had a series of meetings. In fact, I have participated in some of those meetings. Our team is up and beat. You have not heard anybody saying that they will not perform their duties. Yes, the members of the ruling oligarchy in parliament, benefactors of gerrymandering of constituencies, were merrymaking, thinking that the sky is falling when these changes come, because they probably anticipated that there will be some changes. Okay. But the sky has not fallen. We still have the hold of the heaven skies in our hands as members of the National Unity Platform, because we stand for the people. Everything we do is in the interest of the people. And I want to remind him, who is preparing that we have people who have died in this cause and who are still dying. We have people who are missing, who have been abducted, and this matter is even before you people. And I have heard you speak about it, but sometimes you don't use the same force majeure that you use on other matters. Please use the same, because these are human beings.
My God.
And not diverting away from it, but actually focusing now on people. We do have gun violence that is on an increase. 2022, 2023, and now into 2024, we start off with fireworks of guns, which is disturbing. Latest scenario having been a clergyman whose life was attempted upon last week, and so it leaves a lot of people in fear. As of this morning, there's a medical worker in Masindi who has lost his life, and so it begs the question: what's the status of security? What's the promise of security for 2024?
Madam Naroga, before I delve into that, I needed a 1 minute comment. My young man, the spokesperson, has really gone to
deputy spokesperson.
In the
it happens, yeah. Also, so it happens, which is okay.
Yeah. It is a significance that we don't have a dictator.
And people are greatly pained up.
Really?
I'm telling you. You are yet to find out. But back to the topic. Gun violence. Maybe we have so many guns. Gun violence. Crime. Political crime. Normal crime. Petty crime, quarrels, and we settle it with simply getting somebody's life off. This country has gone through this. As younger people, I was 4 years in the 60s, 69, I was 4 years, 70, I was 5 years, but my father would go out on self-help in Uganda, because I grew up in Uganda here, on self-protection missions at the time against condos at the time. Maybe they did not have guns. They used the pangas, they would attack, and even just right today, yes, they are more advanced using guns. Some of them are simply quarrels. I quarrel with Naluoga, maybe out of so many other reasons, and I want your life terminated, which is quite very bad. It's very unfortunate that it happened to a very popular person. I've just recently been in Tanzania, and when you're in Tanzania, people think everybody knows Pastor Bujingo in Tanzania, and to be particular in Dar es Salaam. So this, it paints us as is a bad picture, by the way, outside there. But we want to say vigilance becomes the most important.
Okay.
And once these criminal gangs coalesce, they become uncontrollable. There are some countries where you can not move at night. In Uganda is one of the most peaceful criminally, unlike my young man here. If you went to Nairobi, Nairobi.
Let me backtrack to a statement that you said that it happened to a very popular person, and so to the unpopular person that it happens to on a daily basis. The kind of response is quite different. You're now having SFC guarding this particular popular person. Doesn't guard the ordinary Ugandan that it happens to on a daily person in the constituency that you represent. This is not news. This is daily happenings of people losing their lives in the manner that you tend to explain. So in that regard, we need some clarity on who does the SFC guard? Who qualifies to be guarded by them?
It's the responsibility of this country.
A popular person? Or?
It is the responsibility of this country to guard each individual, even unborn
Let me revise the
citizen.
statement and ask who is worthy of special security?
Yeah, special. I don't have one. I don't. Yes, he said I belong to this government. I don't have any security. But no, I corporately, I must be every citizen. It is enshrined in this constitution.
So is it
that your life is the responsibility of government to guard it. You must be alive.
Okay.
We can quarrel, we can do anything. Actually,
let me speak. Let me take the last word. No, I also give you equal time. Let me take the last words from Alex in regards to security 2024. What does that picture look like in your perspective?
Well, I first of all, this is what we have been saying every day. And these are the matters that these members of parliament have taken very lightly against what the citizens have been presenting to parliament. The total breakdown of our security apparatus is now visible. If you interrogate even the so-called popular pastor and look at the militarization of his own church,
so-called
militarization, nearly the whole church is the military. The person who was guarding him is an elder, allegedly, of the church. He is also his bodyguard. Now, even by deployment, the last, I think, 2 months, when we were discussing Somalia, I clearly stated that part of our security breakdown is on deployment. Deploying semi-qualified people, deploying people who are related to certain people for jobs through corruption. Because if this person has been known to this person for 13 years, how did he become his bodyguard, and why in the last 9 months of the Special Forces Command? Who are the other persons who had been assigned to this person before the 9 months? These are the very pertinent questions, because if this person has been working as an undercover person, a military person of this popular person, and later he is murdered after he has been given a duty to protect this person, who 10 years ago professed that he will take all of the bullets if they are 10 for this pastor. Now, those are the questions. But the issue of insecurity, that is why we talk about the Chibalamas, that is why we talk about the Sanyas, that is why we talk about the Machetes. I think our force has now been delved into politicking. Okay. And you cannot run away from even what is happening. A tweet from the Daily Monitor this morning, I think it was yesterday, about an NRM, an MK blogger, Sijui mobilizer of Mbarara, who came out and attacked the Minister of Internal Affairs for asking the police to do thorough investigations in this matter because this is a supporter of a certain general. Now, that is what we call sectarianism, and that is how it affects the core of the nation.
It goes back to zero, so no solutions so far, but let's wait to see how the government will respond to the state of security in 2024 to ensure that there is protection for all Ugandans. This marks the end of this conversation. Of course, you can continue these debates across our social media platforms. But thank you so much for being with us, and have yourselves a good day.
NTV, turning on your world.
Song of the day.
I want this message to go to President Museveni. On behalf of the people of Uganda, I am challenging you to a free and fair election.
This is a message to the government.
I met Bobby at university. I didn't know he was a musician. He was different.
We are fighting for freedom.
I didn't have so many dreams. She impacted my life. She made me realize we had to impact other lives. I've come to Parliament and taken an oath to protect the Constitution of Uganda. Somebody had to speak for us. People thought I had the loudest voice.
We are fighting for freedom. Again, one more confident time.
This year's presidential election could see 71-year-old President Museveni serve a 5th term in office.
No leader has ever handed over power peacefully. This is a military regime dressed in a civil facade.
We have the Honorable Bobby Wine with us.
As a matter of fact, now I'm doing
Why is my husband held in a military barracks? If I could see him, then I would know what I am actually dealing with.
Our Bobby should be released.